It's 1974, I'm 4 years old, and I'm sitting on the floor in my room. There they go again, my mom and her new husband fighting in the next room. All I want to do is read my book. It's depressing in this room. There are no toys or decorations on the walls. All I have is this library book, a lumpy pillow, a blanket, and a stupid green army cot. There isn't even a mattress on top of it. I don't understand why they fight all the time instead of playing with me. Can't they see that I'm lonely? There's a knock at the door, and it's a package from my aunt. It's addressed to me. I'm pretty excited because I don't usually get packages. I open it, and it's a set of colorful Popeye sheets. Now, at a time when only a handful of cartoons aired on Saturday morning, the Popeye cartoon was a great big deal. Popeye was as famous as Mickey Mouse. I grab the sheets and I run back to my room to put them on the cot. My little fingers pull the brand new pillowcase over that stained old pillow. And then, as if the sheets were magic, the room suddenly transforms. It's no longer sad and dark. It's bright, it's colorful, and it's happy. And I feel so proud standing back, looking at my beautiful bed. I didn't know it at the time, but those sheets would change the direction of my entire life. I actually became an interior designer. What happened to me when I was a little girl illustrated the impact that furniture and furnishings can have on a person, whether your favorite chair or a new set of sheets. I felt firsthand how furniture could give you a sense of security and the pride of ownership. The experience I had when I was a child opened my eyes to my environment. I began to notice everything around me. I began to notice people who had nothing, people who were homeless, and how furniture, or the lack of it, was impacting their lives too. And I decided to help them. From my volunteer work with the homeless, I learned a very valuable lesson. Furniture is one of the most powerful secret weapons we have in the battle to end homelessness. If that sounds absurd to you, I get it. It's not. Homelessness is an enormous problem in our global society. In urban centers around the world, you can't avoid seeing people who live on the streets. In Los Angeles, where I live, the homeless population is estimated to be 58,000 people. That's the size of a crowd at a World Cup event, all living on the streets of Los Angeles. And sadly, that number continues to grow every day. There are a variety of reasons why people become homeless: mental illness, drug addiction, PTSD in soldiers who are returning from combat zones, debt, natural disasters, children who go through the foster care system, low wages, unaffordable housing, domestic violence. There are various ways to address these causes at different stages of homelessness. The general trajectory of a person who's recovering from homelessness is to go from the streets or a vehicle to a short-term nightly housing, like a shelter. About 2/3 of the Los Angeles homeless population vacillate between streets, vehicles, and the nightly shelters. And then there's this other group. These people are able to transition into longer-term shelter housing. And in these places, they're given job training, addiction treatment, parenting classes, and other help so that they're able to transition into full-time homes of their own. For the past decade, my family and I have been soldiers in this losing battle to end homelessness. Initially, we gave money to the shelters thinking they were better equipped to solve the situation. But the numbers continue to grow. We tried direct giving, like passing out tents and sleeping bags and food and clothing and blankets to the homeless. But the numbers continued to grow. Our actions weren't helping, but we could see the mounds of groceries and trash that were piling up all over Los Angeles. And then the eruption of rats and crime. At one point, the very people we were trying to help broke into our property and stole from us. We felt defeated, betrayed, and helpless. But the problem was too important to ignore, and I'm no quitter. Whatever we were doing to help clearly was not working, but then I met a group of designers who were volunteering to furnish the homes of people who were transitioning out of homelessness. They were putting together beautifully furnished spaces, enlisting people and companies from the design community to help create magazine-ready interiors for some of the most vulnerable members of society. And I witnessed how it was making a tremendous difference in these people's lives. And that's when it hit me. Furniture was the secret weapon that these people needed to turn their lives around. And I understood that this was the way that my family and I could succeed in our efforts to combat the homeless epidemic in our city. I know from my work as a designer that when people value the furniture and furnishings in their home, they feel more stable. And as a result, they're much more likely to succeed in their careers and their relationships. And guess what? The same is true about the people who are transitioning out of homelessness. When their homes are furnished thoughtfully, the recidivism rate to homelessness goes all the way down to 1%. Once I understood that not all homeless situations were alike, I decided to align my efforts with that segment of the homeless population, a segment where homelessness could actually be defeated. Because winning the fight to end homelessness isn't just about getting people into homes, it's about them staying in these homes. It takes a lot of work, money, and resources on the parts of governments, charitable organizations, donors, and volunteers to get a person or a family to the point where they're ready to transition into full-time housing. And then 50% of them wind up right back on the streets, even though they've spent many months, maybe even years, working on themselves and their situations. Half of them end up failing. And if you've ever seen the types of places some of these people are living in full-time, you can understand why they might be tempted to fall back into their old habits. A room with a cot or an air mattress and nothing else in it is depressing. It doesn't feel permanent, and it doesn't feel like home. But the secret weapon of furniture is so powerful that when you furnish the places they're living in, turning them into homes, people will do everything in their power to fight to keep them. Furniture can help end the cycle of homelessness for this group. In Los Angeles, the statistics indicate that 16,500 homeless people per year are placed into transitional housing. That means that furniture and furnishings can immediately end homelessness for 30% of my city's homeless population. For a moment, think about the safety and the contentment that you have about your own home. The comfortable reading chair, the cozy sofa where you watch TV. Think about the desk where you handle your business, or how great it feels to get into your bed at the end of the day. These are the things that turn a place into a home, and these are the things that are worth fighting for. It may be hard for some of you who have always had this type of comfort to understand what it really means in your life, but when you have a desk to sit down and do your homework, you're so much more likely to succeed in school. That builds confidence. That sets you up to succeed in the rest of your life. When you're a child who takes off the clothes that you're wearing during the day to make a bed on the floor to sleep on at night, and then puts those same clothes back on in the morning, having a clean bed with new sheets is like living in a mansion. And when you're a mother whose children are finally thriving and they're no longer embarrassed to bring people over to their house to play, it's like winning the lottery every day. You're going to fight to keep it. As I work with organizations to furnish homes and change lives, I've seen the look on the faces of the people who walk into their newly furnished homes. And it's something like, someone thinks I'm worth something. Maybe they're right. And every time I see it, I know that furniture has won another small battle in the larger war to end homelessness. It's not just designers who can help here. Each one of you can enlist in this fight by donating furniture or time. And you can begin by finding a homeless organization near you that aligns with your mission. Battle by battle, we can help eliminate this problem for future generations. Homelessness will never be solved by just talking about it. We've got to hit it with everything we've got. You may have an unused item of furniture, dishes, gently used or even brand new linens that are just taking up space in your homes. Donate them to organizations who are helping people transition out of homelessness. Your furniture will make a tremendous difference in the life of another person. But the furniture isn't just going to walk there all by itself. We need an army of people to place it into these transitional homes. And we need a militia of hands to put together bunk beds or carry sofas down the hallways of apartment buildings. And hey, if you're lucky enough to have an interior designer, please tell them about this problem and ask them to join you on the install day. The power that furniture has to transform lives is truly astounding. And with it, we can end homelessness for a large part of our population. I invite you to join me in this fight because somewhere, a lot closer than you think, right at this very moment, is a 4-year-old whose entire life will change because of a new set of sheets. Thank you.